All right. So I know at least one of you knew that I was going to do a TikTok, a pop-up TikTok. Pop-up TikTok live? Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I decided because it is a Friday, I don't know, and I have the time and I want to help you. And yeah, and I decided since it is a pop-up, I will say this. So I like to do the TikTok pop-up lives from a different part of my house. And the sun is finally out today. And so I'm like, let me go to a place in my house where the sun is shining. And yeah, it's I just figured, why the heck not? It is what, the Friday of the week between Christmas and New Year's. New Year's Eve is on Sunday. Oh, awesome. Could you get me a little, what do you call those things? Like a coaster? It's awesome. Hey, everybody. And my awesome husband got my teacup ready. So I'm here with you. So my tea can get tepid as far as whatever. So I'm here for you for the next hour or so. 50 minutes maybe. Afternoon. Yeah, happy holidays. I'm here for you to help you. I don't know. Are you picking up clutter-wise this week is kind of different because I bet you have some stuff. If you've celebrated the holidays, I bet you have some stuff that came into your house that you maybe need homes for. Maybe you have surface clutter that's around because, you got Christmas cards or wrapping paper or things hanging around because they don't have homes. The other thing is we've got the New Year is coming up. New Year's. We've got next week. We've got all sorts of things. So there's a lot going on this week. Clutter-wise and goals-wise and reflecting-wise. So I just wanted to be here with you because I know that this week is different from all other weeks of the year. Many times people have some days off from school, from work. So you think, oh, I'm going to get all this stuff done. Like June just said, been working on my home all week. Awesome. I think that's great. I hope you're getting done the stuff you want. But the other stuff, I want to just show up in the energy of encouragement and just calming down your nervous system so that you can move forward no matter how fast or slow. Inch by inch, life's a cinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. There we go. Morgan Ray is asking, okay, Amber's got kids' toys everywhere. I bet you've got some new ones mixed in with the other ones. Maybe helping your kids get used to the decluttering. Maybe making that into part of your process. Saying, hey, you got some new toys. Let's put some toys that you don't play anymore with into a donation box, okay? You're never too young to start decluttering. And basically because Beth, Destination Declutter, Decluttering Life Coach, because decluttering is just a habit. And it is a way of thinking. And it is a way of thinking that ensures that you're surrounded by just what you need and you can easily release what doesn't work, okay? So Morgan Ray is asking, hey, I was wondering if you have advice on time management as far as cleaning goes. Yes, I do. Manage your time. You guys, don't be like, I'm going to take all day to clean. If you give yourself all day, you're going to take all day. I say, yes, manage your time. Take some breaks. Use the timer. I did a couple of videos before Christmas that should be posted on my my TikTok channel about that. And use the timer on your phone. Today, for example, use my TikTok Live. I promise I will be on until at least 1 p.m. Eastern. And that's like 48 minutes from now. Use this 45 minutes to do some decluttering. Notice that it can feel different and better when you manage your time, when you have a beginning time and an end time. When you get to the end time, if you feel like you want to continue, by all means do. But maybe also you want to give yourself a break. You want to stretch. You want to go do something else and so that you feel better when you come back. Okay? Carla Holiday is saying, can we talk a little bit about it being okay to take a break if we get overwhelmed? Yes, we can. You can take a break if you become overwhelmed. Now, I say that with love because, gosh, if my coaching isn't all about catching yourself when you're getting yourself overwhelmed or you're getting overwhelmed, catching yourself before you get there so you can check in with your nervous system and say, what's this overwhelm about? And then doing something different. So please, oh, please, oh, please, you are not a machine. You do not work in a factory, at least in your house. So don't treat yourself like that. Now, sometimes scheduling things can help. Say to yourself, how much time do you want to declutter today? Okay? Put that in the comments. Write it down for yourself. Put that amount of time in half and schedule a break in between it so that you realize that you can start something, you can stop it, and you can start it again. This will be this will be especially helpful. Gosh, I'm talking funny today. This will be especially helpful for my folks with ADHD because I know from firsthand, from secondhand, from thirdhand, how we can get afraid of when we finally get into the zone and we're focusing on something. We don't want to get out of the zone. We want to remain focused. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. You should do that as often as you can. But if you have a finite amount of time, what's also very helpful is to teach yourself that you can swim. This is the metaphor that my brain comes up with. When I am in a project and I go deep, I feel like I'm diving into water, into deep water. I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm doing some good stuff. It's almost like when you're dreaming and then you come up and you're kind of waking up. I don't want to get to the surface, but sometimes you need to do that in order to give your physical body a break if you've got other obligations. So practice taking breaks, and more importantly, practice getting back into it once you've taken a break, as opposed to getting distracted. Now, any decluttering you do is going to help. So don't beat yourself up if this is stuff you're just learning. I'm just here to show you some really good kind of processes and methods and systems and principles that I have learned in my decades of being a collector, as I look around at my collections in this room, and also somebody who used to struggle with clutter, and now I have learned different things to do and feel and act to get it so it's not decluttered. Now, real quick, somebody was saying that one persona is asking about the artwork in front of it. It's a total, it's a print, Jasper Johns. It's actually the United States of America. So yeah, that's it. It's total, I got it off of the internet. But thank you for asking about it. Okay, how do you recommend Kelly's asking, how do you recommend getting rid of clothes that you love but don't wear? So have a conversation with yourself. So much of this is going to be conversing with yourself. Hey self, what is this piece of clothing? When I do my one-on-one coaching with clients, I will be the one asking the questions because I don't know the answers. You know the answers in your head, but sometimes unless you articulate them, they're not really clear to you. That's why one of the things I suggest, especially with when you're figuring out why you're doing something or not doing something, is to write these things down. But you can have that conversation. Pick one piece. Don't overwhelm yourself with an entire category, but pick one piece of clothing, Kelly, that you love, and ask yourself why you love it. Ask yourself why you are not wearing it. Start there. Well, I love it because it reminds me of that time we went to New York and I was wearing this sassy coat. And I have a picture of me and I look young and attractive in this coat. Why don't I wear it anymore? Well, because I have gained weight and I don't fit into that coat anymore. You know, that's just an example from my life. Trust me, it's not yours. But notice the stories you tell yourself and the stories you attach to items. And if those stories and items are weighing you down, you can change those stories so you feel better and you feel better and you feel better about, you just feel better. I just love feeling better about letting stuff go. Okay. Carla says, I had to take a break for a few days for emotional and I'm getting back to it today. Yeah, me too. You know, this holiday season, people, we are not robots. We are not machines. We are people that live in a society. We are human beings with limits on our energy, our focus, our whatever. And also we live in a society that just went through the majorest holiday situation that is, even if you don't celebrate any of the holidays that happened or are happening, we are still affected by that. Stores have closed. Stores are open. Different things have happened. Work with your humanity as opposed to trying to make yourself more of a machine. Now, that said, there are certain ways that you can schedule things that will increase the likelihood of you doing stuff, but always take your humanness, your energy, your focus, your mood into account and factor that into what you're planning on doing for the day. Okay, Ariel Schwartz is saying, I'm decluttering today and so anxious. Notice that, you guys. Notice how decluttering makes you feel physically and kind of neurologically in your nervous system. Now, work on that first. Notice that and work on it first before you do anything else. So Ariel, I'm hoping that you're going to make a list. I'm a list maker like nobody's business. When I make a list, I check it twice. This is like, I get 2 more days and I can use that little haha Santa Claus is coming to town riff. I make a list to get the overwhelm, to chunk down the overwhelm in all the things and get it down on paper so I can look at it. So hopefully, Ariel, you've learned that if you make a list, you feel better after you've made the list. You know, if you get overwhelmed, it's because you're looking at everything. Where I am sitting right now in my home, literally, I am like, I can look straight ahead and I can look down one aisle. I can see from one side of my house to the next because we live in a small house. And I can kind of lean over here and look down that hallway and I can see 3 rooms, a bathroom. I see this, a kitchen. I can see my whole house from here. If I said I was going to clean my whole house, I too would be overwhelmed. But instead, I say, okay, what can I do in this room? What can I do on that bookcase? What can I do even about the couch? Maybe I want to fluff up the pillows, you know? Chunking it down. Chunking things down and getting your thoughts out of your head so you can see them and chunk them down is going to increase your ability to then get started. None of us start. We never take you can only take a giant step. It's the name of a monkey song. You can only take a step so big, but it's still just one step. When you're walking, I'm walking. When you're walking, you can only take one step and then you take another one. And it is only the width of your body. So that is how you do things every day. Every day you walk, remind yourself, you do things a little step at a time over and over and over again. Okay? There we go. Laura Gibbons Voorhees says, hey, we got new windows installed yesterday and it caused us to create space for workers. Yes, notice those external motivation. You know, like if you're having people over on Sunday for New Year's or, you know, you've got, I don't know, you've got to make room for your Christmas tree. Notice those external things that kind of get you to show up even if you may not have wanted to. And it feels so much more open. It makes me want to do more of that. Yes, you sometimes don't know how overwhelming and heavy too much can be until you're surrounded by not a lot. That's why when I go traveling, it's like that spacious openness of hanging around. Like I just booked a trip and I booked a hotel room that is bigger than the other hotel rooms because I like that feeling of space where you can breathe and relax and not be, you know, surrounded by so much stuff. Okay? Mara is saying, I've been trying to reach spaces I've wanted to put off for the new year. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. I am here to help you. Yeah. Jess is asking, from your experience, why do you find it is hard for us to let go? Because we are humans. Because we are humans that have human feelings, and we live in a society that has overlays certain feelings and thoughts and expectations on stuff. If there were ever a time of year to notice that, it's now during the gift-giving season of our society that we attach meaning to items. And we attach meaning to acquiring items. Look at me, I've got this expensive car. This means I've made money. This means I'm a success. This means my life is good. Versus you're using, you know, you have a car that just runs. You know, we also attach meaning to letting go of items. You know, you can't get rid of that. You paid good money for that. That could be good for somebody. Aunt so-and-so gave you that. We are humans who tell stories about stuff. And those stories can either help us when we're aware of them. We can question our stories and say, does this help me or does this hinder me? Does this help me live a life I want to live or is it keeping me from living a life I want to live? So that's kind of in a nutshell. Debbie is great. Just sent some donations. Yep, I'm all about donating stuff. I dropped off a donation bag last week. Actually, I think I have my husband. No, I donated it. And I've already started another one because I realized you guys never see me from the waist down. It's fine. It's there. But I wear pretty much every day, especially in this weather, I have 2 types of yoga pants I wear. One's kind of camouflage looking in black. The other one's a solid black. I'm a Gen Xer, punk rocker from the 80s. I have always worn black since the 80s. It's just my thing. Makes it so easy. But I say that because I realized the other day when I was getting dressed that there was one of these pairs of yoga pants that I didn't like. It was more scratchy than smooth. And I said, I don't want to hang around. I don't want to wear scratchy pants. Luckily, I have another pair I can wear, so I already started a donation bag. You should always have, in my estimation, you should always have a donation box or bag ready so that when you make the decision, I don't want these anymore, you can take the next step and put them somewhere. Okay? Notice that. Alrighty. What do we have here? I'm backing up a little bit, so I apologize if I've missed any of your questions. I'm going to go back down here. One thing I want to quickly mention, a couple of things, just while I'm doing this, while I've kind of broken my train of thought, is if you are on the Destination Decluttered mailing list, hopefully you got the cool email that I sent out yesterday. That has set you up with the date for our Zoom call, the free group Zoom call for you're on the mailing list. It also told you when the 2 free workshops I'm doing just for people on the mailing list came. If you didn't get that, let me know if you're on the mailing list. And conversely, if you're not on the mailing list and you're interested in, I don't know, 2 free workshops and a Zoom and learning more about coaching and then possibly having me as your one-on-one coach, destinationdecluttered.com/join. Sign up for the mailing list. I will send you all that info. One of the free workshops I'm doing is this Sunday, the 31st. I figured it was kind of symbolic on the last day of the year and the beginning of the new year to sit down and kind of just say, hey, let's reflect. Let's see where we are now and see where we want to go. So I was gonna do it myself, and I thought, well, you know what? Why can't I just? I will just, invite more people. So if you're interested in that, destinationdecluttered.com/join. Also, because the people on the mailing list now have already had the first dibs, I will let you know that if you are interested in me being your one-on-one coach, I do that. And my coaching consultation calendar is open again for the first couple of weeks of January. So if you're interested in that, the very first step is to get a consultation with me, which is basically just a conversation on Zoom, just to see if we're a good fit and things like that there. There are dates available on the calendar. You can also find that on my website. Okay, enough of that stuff. Let me dive in here. So let me see what else I can help you with. Yep. Taking a break. Give me a break. I sure could use it. Okay, Jess is saying and I'm assuming I kind of missed it, but we do inherit ways of thinking about items from the people that we were brought up by or surrounded by. We do. We also probably are influencing other people whether we realize it or not. So if we have a struggle of where does this thing go, what do I do with it, and I don't have good habits, or not good habits, habits that make me feel good in my home, you may be teaching by overtly or just by imitation other people in your life. So notice that, and you can do something different about it. Okay. And Miracles and Money just said, thank you for popping up. You're welcome. I do have some things. It's so funny. I got to make sure because I was doing a lot of things. I like to do scheduled TikTok lives. I will get more back into that routine next week because it's the beginning of the year. But this year is always this time of the year is kind of different. But I like to also pop up because I know that, when we need help isn't always on a schedule. But on that too, Destination Decluttered on YouTube is where all these recordings go. Okay. So what else do we have here? Darcy is saying, I grew up with one set of grandparents and have a large amount of things from them that I cannot probably let go. All right. All right. I will offer this to you. You will always have memories of your grandparents and thoughts and feelings and stories. They may have been people because they grew up probably in the Great Depression of the 20th century, which now is almost 100 years ago. They grew up being affected by that. And so they may have kept a lot of things. We also, and I don't necessarily love that we live in a disposable society, but there's a balance between kind of replacing things often and then also hanging on to stuff that you're just not using. When my grandmother passed away, one of my grandmothers passed away like just a couple of years ago. She was like 100. But my other one passed away in the 80s, and she had an entire shed behind her house. She had an attic full of stuff that had been there for decades because they grew up with that stuff. I just want to make you aware that you can release those things. You don't have to, Unless you want to, you don't have to keep any of it. But you don't have to keep all of it. Doesn't mean you didn't love them, okay? Yeah, notice the things you cannot part with. Notice that you're going to have your favorites, okay? Notice that you're going to have your favorites. And pay attention to that. When you have a favorite thing, when you like that fork better than the other, when you have a preference for what coffee mug you use, you're going to notice that and play to the strengths. I like these coffee mugs because they're big. I can put my hands around it because my hands are always cold. And so I use them. So pay attention. You're making decisions about what you want in your life. If I wanted more mugs, you know I'm going to get this kind of profile. So just notice everybody. Notice that you have favorite things, and that's okay. Don't get rid of your favorites, but there are things that are not your favorites. Those are going to be easier to get away with. All right, so Erin is asking, a good question. Thoughts on projects started that were exciting and fun at first, but don't get finished. I lose interest. You and me both, sister. Here's how I want to look at it. I have gotten okay with thinking that I want to be somebody who is like crafty. I thought I was going to be crafty, so I bought all these crafty things and I got all excited. And I know this is so common with people with ADHD. So just know you're not alone. If you have the thrill and the adrenaline of excitement and this possibility, but when it comes to doing the thing, you kind of lose interest. Get specific. Don't try to make a blanket statement on all of this, but just chunking it down to whatever the project is and saying to yourself, what made me excited about this? And do I want the end result? So here's a lovely story I will tell because I'm looking at it right now. So for example, I come from a creative household. My mother is wildly artistic. I am not so much, but I am creative in my own ways. And I see the potential in things that other people throw away. I do. So I love the idea of upcycling. And when I see somebody doing something that's clever and takes something that used to be something that, like an empty, coffee can and does something neat with it, I think, oh, that's neat. I really like that. But then part of me says, I could do that myself. I don't need to spend that money. I could do that myself. And I did this for quite a number of years. And around Christmas time, I'm looking, and years ago, I just actually looked back onto when this was happening. So circa 2015, I saw somebody making these amazing Christmas wreaths with like upcycled vintage ornaments and things. And she did a marvelous job. And I thought, oh, I could do that. So I started acquiring the items. And then I had them, and I realized I wasn't doing it. I was acquiring the stuff, but I wasn't doing the thing. Now, I know I have a bit of a hang up for fear of doing it wrong. It's not going to come out good. I kind of got up in my head about that the process was not going to be enjoyable for me. I didn't want to go through the process. I just wanted it done. Now, so knowing that about myself, I realized that at a certain point, I was just going to buy one of those wreaths from the woman who was making them. It was the best decision I ever made, is knowing about me that I didn't want to go through the process, that the process did not feel enjoyable. It activated my nervous system about all sorts of things, probably, like deep-seated insecurities about my creativity and my mother being like, no, you're doing that wrong here. Just give me that. I'll do it for you. I know all that stuff. And I could choose to work on that stuff, or I could recognize it and be like, you know what? I just want the thing. So for example, just notice what's stopping you. Notice what unhelpful thoughts come up that are stopping you from doing it, and just sit with it and be like, okay, a little bit of working through that, a little bit of, do I want to do this? And maybe you just need help with stuff. I sometimes need help opening up a water bottle because my hands are not as, strong as my husband's. So ask for help if you need it. If you're struggling with something, putting together an IKEA bookshelf, you get frustrated because it's not coming out right. Walk away from it, come back, chunk it down. But notice why you wanted to start it in the first place. Was it because you wanted to go through the process, or did you just want to get there? Did you want to go on a road trip? And I love this because I've got maps on my house. So this is basically a very abstract map of the United States. Did I want to go through the road trip, or did I just want to get there? Now, sometimes those things can be gotten. You can just buy the wreath versus making the wreath. Other times, folks, it's a road trip. In order to get the result, you have to take the road trip. Okay. I hope that helps, Erin. If it doesn't, just put a follow-up questions. Yeah, my scrapbook ventures that never happened. You know what? And I see you giving the face. You know what? Me too. But you know what? I don't want to spend my time doing that stuff. I would rather spend my time doing something else. So instead of creating, I thought I was going to, do the stuff. And also don't forget too, there are people there that enjoy those things. If you do not enjoy scrapbooking, be okay with that. Having your photos in a box that's organized, that says Lennon family versus Hillis family is a help. Get to the point where you're comfortable with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Also, don't forget too, again, in that kind of societal thing, that there are people out there wanting to sell you products to do things and make you feel bad if you don't do it. Oh, you're not a good mom if you don't create these scrapbooks that everybody has. Here, let me sell you thousands of dollars worth of scrapbooking things. If you want to do it, it's great. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. Yeah, there you go. Photo projects, framing Miss Artwork. I just want it done. Don't want the road trip. Yeah, okay. Hey, I will say right here, I used to work in a frame store. Take them to a frame store. Michael's usually has really good sales nowadays. Take your shit to Michael's and have somebody else frame it. Yeah, there you go. But also, I will say this too. Learn from my process, my mistakes, whatever, before you frame something, because framing things then makes you say, oh shit, now I don't want to hang this up anymore. What do I do with it? Find a place you want it hung. I bought this artwork and this size artwork off of the internet because I knew I wanted a big dramatic pop of color. This has so many things going on with it. And I didn't just buy it and figure, oh, I'll figure out a place to hang it. So Erin, this might help too. Look around your house and say, here's this artwork. Before I even frame it, where do I want to hang it? And if I can't find a place that I want to hang it, it's also okay to just save it, if you choose to, in a tote that's labeled child's name, and that's their sentimental items. Notice that. It can save you grief from then saying, oh my gosh, now I have all this frame stuff. I had too much frame stuff because I worked in a frame store, and then I changed how things were, and now I'm happy with the way things are, but there are certain things that I now know I probably am going to dismantle and give away, So just notice that. There we go. Miracles and Money says, I'm excited to stay home after errands and going to listen to the YouTube Destination Declutter recordings. Awesome. Do that. I hope that helps. That's why I show up, is to help you through this. And it's not from me up here and you down here. It's from me just being on the road and being like, I was there, but now I'm here. So I'm kind of calling back to you saying, watch out for that puddle. There's a detour in Missouri, whatever it is. I am just here because I have gone through this process. I come from a collector family. I'm looking around. I got my snow domes. I got my books here. I got, wacky artwork here, my records, our records, all of those things. Okay. Yeah. So learn. Erin is saying, I have an entire kid art gallery in the finished basement. I should have paid someone and saved time. Yes. If you can pay somebody to do something else, by all means, do it. Now, here's the interesting thing, though, is like, for example, I get paid to help people declutter because decluttering is such a personal thing. A cleaning person can't help you with that. A cleaning person can get rid of the dust on the items that you've decided to keep or let go, but some of these things you have to do yourself. Boy, I wish I could pay somebody to lose weight for me. It can't work. There are certain things you can pay to get somebody else to take care of so you have more time to do what you want. And there are other things you just have to do yourself if you want the results. Okay? Yeah, and Kathleen is saying, I love the road trip analogy. I am all about the road trip analogy. That's why I call it Destination Decluttered. For decades, I would go on road trips. I've written books about road tripping. And what I found, and this is why I'm helping you with this framework, is when I look at what I do in my life, not as, what am I doing with my life? But I kind of run it through the road tripping and travel driving filter. It changes how I see things. It desaturates the drama. It takes the drama out of it to give, instead of expending energy freaking out about stuff, I say, wait a minute. What would I do if I was in my car? If I thought this road was going to get me somewhere and it's taking me off course, instead of keeping on driving, keep doing the same thing, I'm going to stop. I'm going to figure out where I went off course, and then maybe, yeah, I turn around and I get back. Or the way sometimes works, as soon as you stop and realize it, a different road will appear that's going to get you to your destination, like a road trip. Okay? Miracles in Money is saying, pay someone to do laundry and once a month cleaning service, and I love it. Yeah, I'm kind of on a balance with that. I know my husband and I could definitely use some help. And so I have somebody I'm going to call. Basically, we've got like Venetian blinds. I don't like to clean those. They're a pain in the butt. I don't like to clean them, so I don't clean them. So they get worse and they need help. So I might do that myself, or I may pay somebody to do it and just have it done. You know? So just notice that, okay? So I am here for you for doing this. Now, I have been here for about a year now doing these TikTok lives, and I am so freaking excited about starting the year off with y'all, because I just know that what I am sharing with you is going to help you if you simply do the things. And it's not big things, it's the little things. It's like drinking more water, it's taking more steps, it's cleaning off the table after kitchen, it's changing your habits micro ways. And also, it's not just habits externally, and it's up here. Like Erin is saying, my parents' voice, though. Why pay money for that? Do it yourself. You know what? That is your parents. Barriers, boundaries. Notice how when you have somebody else's thoughts in your head, how does that feel? Is that getting you the life you want? Because you're probably not doing it. You're saying, oh, I know, my solution is to pay somebody. You know, I could do that. Fine. Then do you. You do you. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to pay somebody for that. Because that's the kind of life I want to live. This is why I'm working my job, to pay for the stuff I want to do. They have their own thoughts and feelings and actions and reactions about what they feel is right. But you can have your own thoughts and opinions and your own money and do things with what you want to do. And I know that's more difficult when you are feeling like you're being judged, and not even feeling, maybe you are being judged, but getting right with yourself, being aligned with yourself, saying, you know what? I'm going to get some help with this. I don't want to struggle with things. I bet if you looked at your parents, there's some things that, man, they could have had help with that you wish they had paid to get some help with. You know, I'm just thinking of my parents. I'm not thinking about anybody else's. But notice when it's somebody else's thoughts in your brain that are affecting what you do versus your own co-pilot. Now, I say co-pilot because I think of this as a road trip. You're the driver in your life. I'm the driver in my life. But I am also an external representation of what I call your co-pilot. The person next to you on a road trip that encourages you, that has the map, that's there to quiet down, to remind yourself not to beat yourself up, to help you calm down your backseat drivers, your nervous system, those unhelpful thoughts that create the feelings that get you frazzled and exhausted. Whoosh, quiet that down. It's okay. Stop that, and then just start something else. And we all know that feeling of when you know, that, and it may be really quiet if your backseat drivers, who might be just internalized versions of your parents' words, are saying, you can't do that. Why pay somebody? Blah, blah, blah. Shh, quiet them down. And that's when your own internal co-pilot will say, you can do this. You can have any life you want. Regardless of them, you don't even need to tell them you're paying somebody. Like, there are so many ways you can get where you want to go and just not even activate that whole external nervous system. Okay? Okay. Rossman is saying, what do I do if my hubby keeps buying clothes and won't get rid of any because it's all new? It's a lot. Have a conversation with him. Notice how I said earlier about decluttering is a conversation with yourself. Decluttering, helping somebody else to declutter, which, you know, make sure you're on your own thing. Get curious. Show up in curiosity and love for your husband and just ask him, why does he keep on buying these clothes if he's not wearing them? If it's all new, why is he not wearing them? I bet he has a story in his head that makes him feel a certain feeling, that makes him do a certain thing. We never had enough when I was growing up, so therefore now I can, and I'm going to buy a lot because it makes me feel better, because I'm trying to fill up that hole. I'm trying to make up for what happened in the past by doing something today. Now, at a certain point, that can help. You know, I never had whatever, and now I have it. But It's a difference between too much and just right. It's a difference between that feeling of I have too much stuff versus I have just the right amount of stuff versus lack. I only have one pair of pants. I might want to buy another. Do I need 14 pairs of pants? No, that feels like too much. It's hard to put them away. I'm not, I wear the same things over and over again. Have a conversation with him. Okay? There we go. Yeah, we all deserve a new narrative, and you can create it. Just tell yourself a better story. That's what I do. And it may feel worse. No, it may feel weird. It may feel awkward. Your backseat drivers are like, that's bullshit. That's not working. Try it anyway. What you've been doing up until now has gotten to you to where you are. If where you are isn't where you want to be, start something different. Steer in another direction. Do different things. Break apart what isn't working to create something that does. Okay? Yeah, sometimes implement quietly and quickly. Get it started before you wake up the kids in the back seat saying, hey, you know what I'm going to do? Hey, Mom and Dad, I know you're going to judge me about getting somebody to come and clean my house. You know what? You just do it. You just do it. Why even bother telling them? If you know you're going to get some judgment, why wake up that beast? Okay? Daily Bird is saying, I'm so thankful for you, Beth. Thank you. I'm thankful for all of you all because I used to do TikTok lives. I used to do Facebook and Instagram. And the crazy thing is that Facebook and Instagram, only 6 or 10 people would show up. Now I've got, 125 right now, which is a nice little number of people for me. So I thank you for showing up and allowing me to have the opportunity to share what I have learned with you to help you. Okay? There we go. L Prince saying, I watched one of your videos yesterday on YouTube and got rid of some things. Excellent. Excellent. And I want you to do it the right way. Now, you could pitch all those papers into a trash barrel. You could get a dumpster. You do you. But what I will say is if you don't learn how to make decisions that align with who you are and who you want to be, and learn that that is safe, and not only safe, but it can feel good, you're missing out. You're missing out, and you'll probably continue to do some of these unhealthy or unhelpful habits. Okay? There we go. Yeah, body double. I'm a body double right here. Use what I use. Use the tools I'm giving you. I do paid coaching, which to me is always going to be the shortcut that's going to be so much more efficient to get you from where you are now to where you want to be if I'm in your life, just one-on-one. But everything I do right here, and I think on it because I know my clients pop up on these TikTok lives, they will attest to everything I say to you is stuff I would say to them. That I encourage you. And sometimes it's the repetition that allows it to finally click in your head. But you have to be open to it. You have to be open to it. If you think it's not going to work, it's not going to work. So just even say to yourself, I'll give it a shot. I'll experiment. I will play with this. I'll give it a shot. And I will stick with it long enough that I don't get frustrated. Like I go through the uncomfortableness, because on the uncomfortableness, I'm just making up words today. It feels different doesn't mean it's wrong. Check if it's a wrong feeling or it's a different because I'm afraid that this could work. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I love this stuff. Oh, there you go. Miracles of Money says, Beth, always good to remember that money can flourish when one starts decluttering. Hell's a poppin', yeah. You may find a check. You may find something you can sell. I sold a piece of stuff that I've had in my basement for 18 years, 20 years. It's ever since we were in this house longer, 20 years. Sold it for like $850. I had thrifted it 20 years ago for $5. So I've heard people, even just decreasing the amount of money that they're spending on stuff coming in is a money saver. Not spending money on long-term storage units is a money saver. My clients have found TikTok. Oh, excuse me. I got distracted by a thing that came in. My clients have found diamond earrings that they lost. They found them when they were decluttering. They have found gift cards. They have found cold, hard cash. They have found family sentimental things that they've been looking for. Look at your decluttering as a treasure hunt. And if the stuff that you're finding isn't a treasure, if it isn't something you love, consider removing it from your life. That's what it is all about. Charlie Brown is finding what's in your heart. Okay? So notice that. Yeah. So Maggie, it does feel good to help people in this way. And I am grateful that I have found kind of a platform, a place that I'm connecting up with folks. So I ask you this, to help me better help you, please follow my TikTok page. That bumps my numbers up, frankly. I believe that helps me get my message out to more people, because we're not just the only 100 or so people on the planet, in the country, that struggle with clutter. So the more we get the word out, the more you just even say, yes, I follow, I share, I sign up on the mailing list, I spread the word to friends of mine, the more people you can help while you're doing your thing. And when you know you're not alone doing this, when we're all in it together, it just feels better. Like, that's why I'm so excited. I thought at one point, I will share this with you, kind of a behind the scenes thing. At some point, I thought I might do some group coaching, and I might do that in the future. Sorry, I keep on kicking my little table here. Because I like that feeling of community. But what I know is, right now it's not going to happen. So the best and only way you can get me one-on-one into your life, working specifically with you, is my one-on-one coaching. But we are all together, even on the mailing list, showing up for the Zoom calls that I'm going to do, these workshops. There are ways. I want you to not feel alone. I want you to feel not alone. And if I could impart with you this, I can do this. I will do this. I am doing this. Now I think of some little, self-help thing that I got off of a wall at a corporate thing I was at. But, those baby steps, I can do this. I want to do this. Not want in lack. I want this. I want to do this, because when I do this, it's going to feel better when it's done. But also, when I show up to do the hard stuff, I am proud of myself for doing the things that I had previously been afraid to do. Sometimes there's nothing like the feeling of just getting it done. Yay, the laundry's in the laundry. Boom. Yay, I opened up all that mail and I sorted it out, and, whatever it is. Revel in the fact of getting done, but you can't get to that done. And done is only temporary, though. It's not like, I did the mail once and it's going to be gone. But even that temporary done, you only get there by starting the process. Okay? Yeah. And El Prince says, I gave some things away on Buy Nothing. I just asked myself, do I want to keep this? And I listened for the answer. And if the answer is like, nah, Jan, nah, I'm good, then let it go. Because the fewer things you have, the fewer things you have to pay attention to, the fewer things you have to dust, the fewer things you need to put away. It's a quality-quantity thing, okay? But until you realize that who you're asking is you, and your decisions are going to create the life you want. I mean, I'm looking around this house, okay? I got lime green walls here. I got orange walls there. We got yellow walls there, a pink door. This is not the house I grew up in. Yay! That was all brown and colonial, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't until I started taking baby steps towards the life I wanted that I could then take bigger, more bolder steps and really transform my life. But I start with the baby steps. And the baby steps, not just in any random direction, the baby steps in the direction of the life you want to live. And that's why I call, when I get lost, when I'm like coaching and I'm getting so into my thoughts and like, oh, I could help. When I get lost, I say destination decluttered. Destination. What is my destination? And it's not about postponing the joy until you get there. No, no, no. Your destination is just kind of that star that keeps you aligned with, these are the ingredients that I want in my life. And what can I do today to get those ingredients in my life every day? If you don't define it, it's going to be so much harder to know what's going to light you up and what's going to drag you down. Okay? So notice that. Yay. Awesome. Grace, thank you. And miracles and money. There we go. Yeah, $900 in 3 months. If you want to make money from your stuff, do it. But also, there is no thing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's no thing wrong with saying, I get that I could sell that stuff, but I don't want to sell it. It's too much of a pain in the ass. It's not how I want to spend my time. It's not how I want to spend my time. Notice how you want to spend your time. Now, it was easier for me to sell this one thing down the basement because I did some investigating and I could find an auction house that would take this thing. If I did it on my own, I wouldn't have gotten as much money, and I was ready to just donate it. I have a friend who has a shop that I was going to be like, hey, can you just sell this for me? I don't know, $20 had I not done that. But do what feels right to you. At a time in my life, I did sell things on eBay. I did sell things on Etsy. I did have garage sales. I did go to, flea markets and sell things. So I know all about that. And that helped me decrease the amount of stuff that I had and make some money. But after a while, it became unfun and I didn't want to do it. And so I became more comfortable with just letting things go and donating them to places that that I felt good about the place that I was doing it. But I also will occasionally drop a bag of, less than, serviceable clothes at the Goodwill. Now, do I agree with how they do their business? No. But if it gets them out of my house in an easy way and I can do something else, I am comfortable with that decision. Notice it's all about getting comfortable with your decisions you're making and saying, yeah, it was a lot easier for me to donate those clothes when I could just drive past and give the guy my bag than going to find someplace. Okay? Yep, exactly. Manifest how it's going to look and how it's going to feel. It's all about the feeling, because your house can look a certain way, but it can feel not good. And notice how I don't say it's either cluttered or whatever. Your house could look like a magazine, but I've seen some pictures of people's houses with like a lot of money, and their houses look so impersonal, and it's not how I want my home to feel. So notice that. Yeah, depends on the item if you donate or not. Learn what works for you and do what works for you to get you closer to the life you want. Okay, Jess, saving birthday cards and holiday cards. I have at least 200. I feel guilty trashing them. Notice the feeling of guilt. Have a conversation with yourself. Why do I feel bad trashing these things? Why do I feel guilty? It's not like you don't love the person. They sent you a temporary thing. Do you feel guilty deleting emails? I don't know. Keep it. But if you look at those cards, here's a funny thing. You say cards, check this out. I am set up because I'm not usually doing my TikTok lives here. I've got like 4 minutes, so I'll go off topic here. I have literally created a table of this big, see this? I don't know if you can see it. This Whitman sampler box, right? Okay. It's humongous. It's humongous. I just thought it was so funny. I bought it at the grocery store a number of years ago. I open it up. You know what's in there? Can you see that? No, here, let me see. Okay, funny thing is there's another Whitman's box, and I wish there was another one in here. But yeah, there are cards that I have saved. Look at this. I got cards, I save them. But what I've done is I have gone through and I've decided which ones that I've wanted to save. And I say, when this box gets to be too full, then I go through. So what I did last year, and we're going to do this year, is I didn't want to make the decision right away. Last year, when we got our Christmas cards, because the ones we've actively have, I pulled out last year's, and we'll go through them before we put this year's cards will go in this box. Next year when we open up, we'll look through them, we'll weed them out, save the good ones, and we'll start that process again. Now this is just, seriously, it's not a table, it's just on top of like a little 50s TV stand, right? Like this box goes away. This box, I'm moving it right now. The box goes away with my Christmas stuff. Our Christmas stuff. I say ours, mine, but it's ours. Okay. So just notice that you can also containerize it, saying I'm going to keep some things, but they can only fit in a box this big. And once the box gets full, I need to weed it out. So notice that is something you can use. Is there anything you let go you think about? Not really. Kind of sometimes. It's not a perfect science. It's an art. And yes, there are things that I have let go of that I kind of regret, but it's not, you know what? You're going to make mistakes. You're a human. You're not a robot. You're going to make mistakes. And not even mistakes. Just you're going to do something that didn't work out the way you thought. Oh, well, I gave away that thing. I can't even think about it now. Like there's nothing that comes to mind. But I love what I have around me, so it's okay. Well, I've got 2 more minutes, and then I need to hop off because I just got a text from my sister. Okay, yeah, Erin is saying, you said something, yeah, people with money but homes look impersonal. I see that firsthand. Notice that. Notice how you feel in different environments. and say, what do I want my home to feel like? What do I want to feel like when I'm in my home? What do I want to feel like when people are in my home? People including myself and my husband and my dog and my family who's coming in or whomever. The feeling. That's really where it's at. Because it can look any which way, but if you feel good in your home, you won't care if it looks like Kim Kardashian's house or like Sanford and Son, because you will feel okay. Now, I assume we are somewhat between those two, but it's all about how you feel, okay? And then the other thing, too, I just wanted to mention, because Erin mentioned it, is why are those backseat driver voices so loud? It's because for decades they have been listened to. So they talk up all the time that you do what they want you to do. They are in the back seat saying, don't drive that way, drive this way. Don't do it that way, do it this way. Do it my way. Don't do it your way. No, you're wrong. You begin to believe them, and then your internal co-pilot quiets down because they're so busy talking, but your internal co-pilot is there all the time. You need to quiet them down and then allow yourself to just not yell back at them, but have a conversation with them to quiet them down, to say, no, that's how it was back then, but it's not working anymore. We're going to do something different. Me, my co-pilot, going to quiet you old people down in the back seat who are just, you've got your own hang-ups. It's totally your own hang-ups, but I'm going to drive towards a life that is in a house that looks like this, with a husband who's like that, a car that looks like this, a job that looks like that, friends that look like this. This all feels good to me. And when you start to not just declutter your home, but start to think about this in the way that your life works, it's a game changer. Now, I am signing off because, speaking of life, I have a life and I have my sister and my mom and things that I'm helping them with. And so I'm going to sign off right now. But I will share this with you. Beginning in and one, you did some things this year. Yay, celebrate the wins, minimize the losses. Join the Destination Decluttered mailing list. Let's all do it together this year. Let's even project out to be like, if this were December 29th of 2024, what do you want to look back on and say that you finally did, or you changed stuff up in 2024 so that you feel differentlier than you do today, okay? And in a good way, all right? I don't know when my next TikTok live is scheduled. I don't even know if I've told you this because I don't even know myself. I'm going to do some more pop-ups, okay? So don't worry about that. I will get back more into my routine, as I'm sure we all will in the new year. But in the meantime, there's the mailing list, sign up for coaching, and also the Destination Decluttered TikTok, the recordings that are on the YouTube channel. So you have all sorts of resources. You've got the tools. It's a matter of being open to them and trying something different. Playing with something different, experimenting. Let's have fun with it, okay? Let's have fun in 2024, decluttering our homes and lives, all right? I will see you the next time I see you, okay? Bye.